Good morning, everyone. My dear participants, have a nice day. Today we are at third day of International Online Symposium, which is going on in A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy, Nasrapeta. Once again, thanks for coming. First of all, I would like to thanks to Mr. Harshavardhan Gummadi. He is a lead regulatory affairs, United Kingdom. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for coming to this session. The title is today's title, that is complete belongs to the regulatory affairs. Okay, this session I'm going to hand over to today's session coordinator, Dr. A.M.Reddy, C, Associate Professor, A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy. Hand over to Reddy, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all. This is Reddy, Associate Professor from A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy, Nasrapeta. On behalf of students, staff, management, Srimati Atluri Shanti Garu and Sri Atluri Srinivas Reddy Garu, founder of A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy, under A.M.Reddy Educational Society, for this day 3 of International Online Symposium in association with MIBO Group and IJAPB Journal. I am very grateful to have chance to introduce today's resource person, Mr. Harshavardhan Gummadi, a regulatory specialist from SLA, United Kingdom. Let me introduce resource person Harshavardhan Gummadi. Sir completed his diploma in clinical research and pharmacovigilance from KCS Pharma Academy, Jalandhar. Did his Bachelor of Pharmacy from Vishwabharati College of Pharmacy, Guntur. Sir did his Master of Pharmacy in Pharmacology from KMCH College of Pharmacy, Coimbatore. Sir worked as Assistant Professor at DCRM College of Pharmacy, Inkollu from 2010 to 2011. Sir worked as a research associate in clinical pharmacology department at GVK Biosciences Private Limited from 2011 August to October 2014. Sir worked as medical writer in the Department of Scientific Writing and Regulatory Affairs from at Syphomics Technology Private Limited from October 2014 to May 2016. And now Sir working as specialist in regulatory affairs at A.M.Reddy Global Corporation UK Limited from May 2016. Sir has vast knowledge in regulatory field since 10 years. Sir established new terms through capability buildup and maintaining the global hub labeling and country labeling projects successfully from January 2017. Individual contributor and core member in the team, actively learning new things and providing training to colleagues and new joiners and enhancing the team contribution. They have hands-on experience in creating and updating various labels such as company core data sheet, that is CCDS, summary of product characteristics, SMPC, United States package inserts, ESPI, package information leaflet, PIL, and medication guide. So this is about the SAR. Now I hand over the session to the SAR. Once again, heartily welcome to Harshavardhan Gummadi for this today's session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy Garu, for your kind introduction. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you, Madam Atluri Shanti Garu, Chairman and Correspondent, Atluri A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy. And a special thanks to Dr. A. Kishore Babu sir and all the staff members and coordinators for this session. And a warm welcome for this session for the entire participants throughout India and various other parts. I will try to share my screen and then we'll start our session. Just give me a couple of seconds to start sharing my screen. Can anyone kindly confirm that you're able to see my screen now?
Sir, you can proceed. Yeah, we are able to see.
Thank you. Thank you very much for confirming that. I would like to start with a small introduction about the regulatory and labeling, and then we will go to the contents and all other slides. Today's topic is fundamentals of regulatory product labeling. Regulatory affairs is a new area, I would say. This was existed from long back, but the department is there, especially in very few of the universities and colleges. But maybe now everyone is having heard about the regulatory affairs. But when I was studying or studied from 2004 to 10, my 6 years of B Pharma and M Pharma, I hardly heard about the regulatory affairs. And even I was not aware what people are doing within the regulatory and what is the use of regulatory, etc. But I got a chance to work in the regulatory environment, and then I'm working in a regulatory labeling environment now, after working for some years in the clinical research and academia. Moving on to the regulatory labeling, it is a niche area within the pharmaceutical or chemical industry. Very few people, I would say less than 5%, working on the labels for the benefit of the physicians, healthcare professionals, and other people. Label is the only document available in the public domain. With this, I will move on to the contents. In today's session, we will try to cover introduction, history, labeling development, that is before HA approval, after HA approval, what are the labels we are developing before HA approval, would be investigator brochures, company core safety information or developmental core safety information, and developmental core safety data sheets or company core data sheets, also called as, and then target products labels like summary of product characteristics for European Union, United States, package insert for USA, and other package information leaflets or patient information leaflets, etc. In various other countries based on the terminology they are using. After HA approval, we will be mainly discussing about the two different types of labels, that is a global label and regional or country labels. And then label maintenance, how the label is maintained within the pharma and chemical industry. And future of labeling, what is the future scope? And finally, healthcare professional responsibility. This is introduction about what is labeling. You could see on the right side the picture. You can even read like this is ampicillin package information leaflet. There are two different types of package information leaflet. One is for prescribers, that is physicians, and the other one is for patients. Probably you would have seen few of the package information leaflet that anybody can read and understand what exactly the particular pharma product is. And the one below, you could see this is a what's on the label for me. That is the artwork we call generally. This is a kind of information where we will be able to see on the actual product, like what is the ingredients in it and what it is useful for in case of the non-OTC product, like it's a OTC product, that is over the counter medication. If it is a non-OTC products or a prescribing medication, there would be some statements like this is used based on the physician advice, etc. And then storage instructions, etc. We will be going to discuss those things in the coming slides. I try to just capture the as minimal information as here to give a brief idea about what is labeling and what is happening in the pharmaceutical industry with respect to the labeling. Product information is the approved information on a medicine. It is written for understanding by healthcare professionals and patients. These labels includes different types, like the first one is summary of product characteristics or United States package inserts. It's based on the region. SMPC is for European Union. USPIE is for United States. These both two labels are for physicians, and then package leaflet is majority of the cases is for a consumer. And finally the labeling is also thing which I was mentioning about the outer label, which is affixed to the container or a blister or any other package. This is a small definition about the European Commission labeling. That is information as per the Commission Directive 2001/83 defines labeling as information on the immediate or outer packaging. Here I try to capture two images. One was before the labeling legislation and the one after the labeling legislation came into picture. You could see on the left side, the Dr. J. Collis Brown chloroidine. This chloroidine drug contains a opium and more alcoholic content in it. And because of there was no legislation those days before 1960s, this was happened. Dr. J. Collis Brown, he was a British Indian physician. He was trying to claim all the benefits out of it. Even nowadays, what people usually say, this is off-label drug use, maybe. You could simply read like chloroidine is admitted by the profession to be the most wonderful and valuable remedy ever discovered. It is the best remedy known for coughs, consumption, bronchitis, asthma. Effectively checks and arrests those too often fatal diseases like diphtheria, fever, crop, ague, etc. Acts like a charm in diarrhea. Likewise, he is trying to claim all the benefits out of it because these were the medications, maybe the first kind of medications available in those days. And he is trying to get benefit out of it because there is no legislation in place, and he is taking that as an advantage. And also it given serious side effects, and even because of the more alcoholic content in this chloroidine, people addicted and deliberately deliberate usage lead to severe mortalities, etc. And then later on, the product has been recalled from the market. Subsequently, the company has replaced the opium and alcoholic content with morphine and peppermint oil. By that, they are also still selling the drug now for the pain relief, etc. And on the right side image, you could see this is overall drug facts. The major difference between the two labels here on the left side and right side. On the left side label, you couldn't even see what exactly the drug contains, like a active pharmaceutical ingredient. It doesn't even mention opium anywhere on the label. But here you could see the acetaminophen 500 mg, pain reliever or fever reducer, etc. So, once we have the label legislation in place, if it is a non-prescription medication, the companies can claim what the drug is used for. If you're taking any other medication that is a Schedule H drug or anti-cancer medication, etc., they cannot, even claim this will be useful for certain, therapeutic purposes. And these are the various aspects of the labeling, like what it used for, what are the warnings, overusage, what it leads to, and what are the contraindications, what are the directions for use, and then other information like storage directions, inactive ingredients like excipients, etc. And then they should also have to give a consumer phone number in case of any queries or anything. This is not the overall label. This is what we call in the industry as a back of pack in the sense, in the front of pack, we would be having the main information of the name of the drug and the manufacturing company, and is there any graphic design how they would be promoting. In case of OTC products, they will try to put some claims. Because of the space limitation, I was unable to capture all the front of pack here, but this is what the label should looks like. And also why it has happened, like why the labeling changes has happened. Probably I could mention one best example over here is a thalidomide disaster. I know many people already know it, but for the benefits of the wider participants, I'm trying to brief as limited as possible. Thalidomide disaster happened in 19th century, that is in 1940s to 1960s, in between somewhere. And that was one of the, again, earlier drug. It was prescribed to each and every, patient without, there was no clinical trials at that stage. And when it was given to the pregnant woman during the second and third trimester, the serious adverse event affected was phocomelia, like without limbs or malformed limbs in the children happened. So that led to a serious discussion, and then various regulatory bodies came into picture, like in the US FDA, and then in the UK or in the European Union, European Medical Agency, started restricting the drug usage, and they started introducing the rigorous clinical trials. And then whatever we are seeing, like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then a post-marketing surveillance like a phase 4 trials came into picture. In the phase 4, mainly they are trying to monitor what are the long-term side effects. If any drug is producing any long-term side effects, that should be taken out from the markets. These are all the things happened. And in the later stages, like in 1990s, they try to standardize the information across the various regions like United States or European Union, Russia, India or Asia or any part of the world. Then they try to put the as brief information on the labels by that everyone can benefit of, because this is the only information available in the public domain, and this is how physicians will be aware of what has to be prescribed to the patients, etc. That's how the regulations changed over a certain period of time, and now we are seeing the things like these on the artworks or the labels. In this slide, I try to explain about the label development as brief as possible again. Everyone already knows that drug design and synthesis is the beginning part. Before that, the companies try to focus on which is the best possible drug they can synthesize, like based on the again the requirement. If the company is looking for something like the current situation, COVID-19, all try to take an advantage and try to produce some medication to treatment or a prevention of the COVID-19. In this way, they try to do all the drug design and synthesis using various techniques like molecular modeling or computer-aided drug design, etc., etc. And once the drug is synthesized, they will try to evaluate that in the preclinical evaluation on the rats, rabbits, or whatever the species, etc. And then if it is showing a pharmacological efficacy and safety in the preclinical evaluation, they will go for the IND approval, that is investigational new drug approval. Once it enters to the IND approval, the clinical development of a particular drug will start. That is phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. In the phase 1, they try to see the metabolism and bioavailability in human beings. That's where the labeling starts. In the phase 1, they try to capture the information in the IB. IB is called as investigator brochure. And then once the particular drug shows the efficacy and safety in phase 1, they will try to go to the phase 2, and phase 2, the development of the most important label, company core safety information and company core data sheet will start. And in phase 3, once the target labels like a SMPC for the European Union, US for the USPI for USA, and package information leaflet or any other label based on the terminology in the respective countries will start in the phase 3. And once they complete the phase 3, they will be having the extensive information, and they will do all the statistical analysis, and they will prove the benefits outcomes outweighs the risks, etc. And then they will be taking NDA approval based on the data from the clinical trials and entering into the post authorization. And that is phase 4, like monitoring of the side effects or the benefits of the drug in a live environment for a certain period of time. That is phase 4. There we will be having a fully developed company code data sheets and regional labels. You could ask me a quick question over here. What is the difference between developmental code data sheets or developmental core safety information and final label company code data sheets and company core safety information, etc.? Here, the major difference is in the developmental core safety information or developmental core company core data sheet, we will be having a limited information at a certain point of time. In phase 1, we hardly trying to monitor the metabolism of a particular drug and bioavailability of the drug. There, the clinical trial number of patients involved in these clinical trials is very limited, like maybe 20 members or 30 members are involved, and whatever the data which we have at that stage is very limited. And then in the phase 2, the randomization will start, and then they will try to understand how drug is showing efficacy and safety. And this is also a very limited number of patients. Again, like in 200, 300 maximum patients are involved in phase 2. And once it clears the phase 2, the wider participants will be involving in phase 3, like double blinding studies, etc. will happen in the phase 3. And then we will be having the extensive information, like what are the related adverse drug reactions, what are the unexpected adverse drug reactions, how can we distinguish between the these different types of adverse reactions or different types of endpoints. Like, let's say if you're taking anti-diabetic drug, the endpoint would be like decreasing the sugar levels in the human beings, and then HbA1c levels. These are the two major endpoints for the diabetic study. And also, along with these two safety endpoints, they will try to monitor what are the side effects. And they will try to monitor all these, and then they will try to take a decision based on the outcomes. Even though if the drug is more efficacious, but it is producing serious side effects, then there is no use of using or introducing the particular drug into the market. So any drug which is showing or which is promising towards a particular therapy should be efficacious as well as safety, showing safety in the human beings as well. And then, once they have the phase 3, they will be having the extensive data, and then they will try to capture this data in different documents, and they will try to submit the data to authorities and will gain the approval. As I have mentioned, across the clinical development, we will be having a data, but it is a phase-wise data. So once we cross the phase 3, we will be entering phase 4. There we will be having the complete data, and that is where we will be modifying from any developmental core safety information or developmental course data sheet to the actual company core data sheets or any regional labels, that is SMPC, USPI, or pills. We will try to discuss about where this labeling comes in the common technical document or electronic common technical document. The terminology differs, but it is all same. Moving on to the ECTD structure, module 1 is the regional administrative information where the labeling comes under. And all the respective module 2, 3, 4, 5 is summarizes the various other aspects of the data, but the regional information is the one which we talk about the labeling. You may ask me a question, this is the only information we will be capturing and we don't have any correlation, or we are not taking anything from any other modules of the ECTD? Then I would say no. Because whatever the labeling information which we will be capturing in the module 1 comes from a different points. Like a clinical overview is one of the justification document, and it contains the safety information, and it would be the justification document for any label updates. And then all the people, those are working in the global labeling environment, is aware about what exactly there in the clinical overview, and they will be using this as a basic information for labeling. And then clinical data study reports. Obviously, when any clinical trial is happening, they will try to capture everything in the clinical data study reports or clinical study reports. Clinical study report is an extensive document. It contains what exactly the all the outcomes, and what are the demographics of the patients, and what are the comorbidities the patients having in the particular trial, and what are the different age groups, etc. This all the information, like the clinical study reports is the extensive form of the data, and it would be like a more than 500. Even if it is a bigger clinical trial, the document should be approximately 1,000 pages, something like that. So we cannot completely depend on the clinical study reports. That is the reason why we are concising the information and putting the information in the form of the labeling for the benefit of all the three different stakeholders, that is the physicians, healthcare professionals, and at the end, wider people, that is the consumers. This is all. This slide talks about the investigator brochures. Investigator brochure is a compilation of the clinical and non-clinical data on investigational products that are relevant to study of the products in human subjects. Purpose is to provide the investigators and others involved in the trial with the information to facilitate their understanding of the rationale for and their compliance with many key features of the protocol, such as the dose frequency, interval, method of administration, safety monitoring procedures, etc. The information should be presented in a concise, simple, objective, balanced, and non-promotional form that enables a clinician or potential investigator to understand it and make his or her own unbiased risk-benefit assessment of the appropriateness of the proposed trial. And this is all about the investigational product or a developmental product. You could ask me a question, which is the document we would be using in case of a generic product. For generic products, product information voucher acts as a IB, and this is how they will try to promote the product, etc. In this slide, you could see what are the different sections in the IB and where we are capturing the information with respect to the labeling. See, again, IB consists of the more content compared to any company core data sheet or core safety information or SMPC or USPI or package information. Here you could see some of the sections like a table of contents or confidentiality statement and signature page. This starts with the investigator brochure because he is the one examining the patients and trying to report the information in these documents. And he has to give his consent to do all this. And then table of contents, summary, introduction, physical, chemical, pharmaceutical properties and formulation, and non-clinical studies, non-clinical pharmacology. Here we have extensive data, like here in the section 5, you could see non-clinical studies. This is all the preclinical information which is captured in the IB template. Why? Because this is, again, why? Because we are capturing this information. We have already mentioned a point in the earlier slide that investigator brochure is something which is guiding investigator towards the particular therapy. Means we are providing the certain information from non-clinical studies to the investigator to understand and to perform a clinical evaluation of the particular drug. That is from the, either from any of the preclinical evaluations like in vitro or in vivo mainly, you could say like rats, even probably people are wearing like or hearing from like they would be even studying it in bubble dogs and monkeys, etc. All the information is captured here in the non-clinical studies part. This would be really helpful in for the investigator to take a certain decision and to try to see and monitor the patient. If there is some reaction or there is some adverse drug reaction or adverse event, then he tried to correlate whether this was happened during the preclinical evaluation. If this has happened, this is something related to the drug. If this was not happened, why this is happening at a certain time point, he has to think about, and he can take an unbiased decision. That is the reason why we will be having different sections in the IB template, and we will be trying to giving the information to physician or investigator who is involved in the clinical trials. In the appendices, you could see even the wider aspect of the trials, like a single dose study, repeated dose study, carcinogenicity, special studies, reproductive toxicity, genotoxicity, etc. And even not only these are the very limited, I would say. They would try to capture as much as possible for different individuals, like babies, toddlers, adults, and geriatric patients, etc. And also like in comorbidities also they would be considering, like if you're taking a diabetes in a best example, excuse me, if you're taking a diabetes an example, then diabetic patients, like at least 30 to 40% nowadays are having a high blood pressure. Then they have to even consider, is this because of the comorbidity which is present in the particular human being, or is this because of the drug, or this is because of the something else? And that is how the clinical investigator who is involved in the study will try to take unbiased decision based on the available data in the IB template. Then moving on to the company core safety information. Again, company core safety information was developed in 1990s. This it came from another organization, that is Council for International Organizations of Medical Sciences, probably all aware of the SIAMs. And this comes from a working group 2 on PSUR, and CCI consists of the minimal essential information that a manufacturer requires to be listed in all countries where the drug is marketed. This is the minimal information should be captured in the core safety information. It excludes extraneous or inadequately substantiated information. CCI SI is much shorter than conventional IB lists, which traditionally contains all the events reported during clinical trials, regardless of the investigator opinion of related to therapy. That's what I was mentioning. Like while during the clinical evaluation, investigator would be reporting all the information, all the events, whether it was related to the medication or it was not related to the medication. But company core safety information would be capturing only the related or expected adverse events and all the safe efficacy information. And then origin of the CCDS, why the CCDS is required and where it comes from. Again, I have mentioned this is also comes from the SIAMs, and SIAMs was established in 1949. And SIAMs mainly focus on issues surrounding the drug development and usage. SIAM's mission is to standardize reporting and terminology of adverse drug reactions and to serve the scientific interests of the international biomedical community. And I try to capture some of the information from the different working groups, that is from 1990, which I have mentioned earlier also. the first working group was working on the international reporting of the ADRs, and the second was working on standardization of the PSCR reporting, like that is a periodic safety update reporting. And the third to five, they have prepared some guidelines for preparing the core clinical safety information on drugs, and then they started working on a group focused on international harmonization of practical aspects of defining, creating, and updating the safety information in labels. That is a core safety information or company core safety information. And then lastly, CMs elaborated on CMs2 concept of company core data sheets and core safety information that it contains. Probably you could ask me a question, why we have a company core data sheet and core safety information. What is the major difference between these two? Core safety information, the name itself, it is indicating the core safety information document contains the only safety aspects of the particular study. But company core data sheets containing all the information which is appearing in the final target labels, such as summary of product characteristics or United States package insert or any other pills, etc. Here we have few points about company core data sheet. It is again internal reference document, which is not going to be submitted to any health authorities. It will summarize the company position on the safety and efficacy of the particular molecule. And this is a vehicle for communicating company-driven labeling changes to affiliates and partners. And this is a main mechanism for driving consistency across the labeling globally, and dynamic document updated as a new information becomes available. That is through different aspects, like if during a post-marketing surveillance studies, that is a phase 4 of the clinical trials, the outcome is something like, it is causing some side effects, or they have, understood that there were some side effects reported in phase 4, then that particular information should be going into the company core data sheets, and subsequently the trigger would be forwarded to the regional or country labels. And not only the PSCRs, then we will be even having some of the triggers for the company core data sheets updates, or PBRERs, that is pharmacovigilance post-benefit risk assessment reports, and then CMDH reports, either it is coming from the European Union or CHMP reports from the European Union, and even the regulatory updates across the globe. And here I try to capture some of the information where we are taking, and SMPC is the ultimate summary of the common technical document. You could ask me a quick question over here again, why SMPC is required? Why can't we use a dossier? And maybe you already know it. Dossier is an extensive document which we are capturing the different contents elaborately. As I have mentioned a few minutes before, module 5, that is clinical study reports. Clinical study report, each one of the clinical study report contains a 500 to 1000 page document, which we cannot give it to health authority. Obviously, for the assessment purpose, we would be submitting the clinical study reports to the health authorities, but to educate the physicians, or to educate the healthcare professionals, or to educate the people, we cannot give the clinical study reports or non-clinical study reports, or any other CMC reports, etc., to these people. So that is the reason why we are preparing a labeling document. This is just like a summary of what is exactly there in the whole dossier. This is a summary of the whole dossier, I would say. Like you are performing a project in your bachelor's of pharmacy or master's of pharmacy. while after performing the project, you're also giving a summary and conclusion. Why you are giving a summary and conclusion? That is just a benefit of what you have done and what you have achieved, and what is the efficacy of a particular drug, in case of if you are evaluating something, or if you're trying to show the safety as well, then you would be even mentioning about the safety. The similar thing here we can compare, and we this is just a summary of what exactly the outcome from efficacy and safety point of view. You could see the information comes across the different modules, and we will be maintaining these documents as a summary documents. Even the name of the SMPC is summary of product characteristics. The product characteristics summary refers to the SMPC. This is for how they have named in the European Union, I would say. And this slide is also summarizes and agreed position with the health authorities based on the data. Like SMPC or United States package insert or any other label is a bridge between the company and health authorities. This is where they are agreeing on a particular drug. Let's say we have a paracetamol available in market. The companies and health authorities agreed on something like, this is how the drug works. These are the safety endpoints. These are the efficacy endpoints. This is safe to the public usage, and what would be the risks if they're taking a more dose, etc. This is a summary document, and this is a bridge between the company and health authorities. SMPC, it's a 10-section document. You could see different section names in this slide. That is, section 1 refers to the trade name of the medicinal product. Section 2, qualitative and quantitative composition. That is what it contains, name of the ingredients, etc. And then pharmaceutical forms, either it is a tablet, capsule, or IV injection or IM injection, whatever it is. And then clinical particulars, where we are talking about company core safety information or company core data sheet. The core safety information, this is the clinical particulars, comes from the company core safety information. If it is a prescription medicine, what are the therapeutic indications the medicine will be used for, have to be mentioned in section 4.1. And then posology and method of administration, what is the dose, and what is the best way of administration for a particular dosage form, etc. And then contraindications, special warnings and precautions for use, and then interactions with other food and medicinal products and other forms of interactions, pregnancy and lactation, effects on ability to drive and use medicines, undesirable effects, overdoses, etc., etc. This all the clinical information comes from the company core safety information. And then pharmacological properties, dynamics, kinetics, and preclinical safety data is covered in section 5. And pharmaceutical particulars in section 6, that is list of excipients, incompatibilities, shelf life, special precautions for storage, nature and contents of the container, special precautions for disposal, etc. And subsequently in section 7, marketing authorization holder, that is the company name who introduce the particular product into the market, and marketing authorization number, this must come from health authorities, and date of first authorization or renewal of authorization, that is the agreement date between the company and health authorities, and the date of the revision of test. As I have mentioned, like these are the documents would be updated at a certain point of time when there is an updates from a phase 4 or from a regulatory aspects. And I could say I haven't given any example of the company code data sheet, because it contains exactly the same sections in the company code data sheets, and the same information is present in the company code data sheets. And the difference is section 7, 8, and 9, 9 and 10 would be taken off from SMP in the company code data sheets, and it will be replaced with the section 7 as references. For anything which we are doing, we must be having a evidence in the form of documents. Like if it is an update from the PSUR studies or a PRAC report, that is pharmacovigilance risk assessment committee report, there should be strong evidence either in the form of clinical trials or clinical summary reports or clinical overviews, etc. Then those during those updates, we must be including those updated references in the section 7 of the company code data sheets. In this slide, I try to capture a few points about the SMPC. This is integral part of the application, company's position on the product, and negotiated with and approved by the competent authorities. That is what I have mentioned. This is the document between the bridging between the company and health authorities. Provides prescribing and safety information and relevant background to the prescriber in a set format, basis of the package information leaflet or a patient information leaflet, what I would say, and defining. And defining the advice provided to patients or users, and set limits for the marketing and promotion of the products, and common basis of communication between the member states. And during each visit, sales representatives shall give or have available SMPCs of each product they present. See, SMPC is a mandatory document while any marketing representative visiting a physician or any healthcare professional for promoting the particular product. Without SMPC, if they are visiting a physician or a doctor, then it's not the right way of promoting the particular product. This is this slides covers what are the sections which we will be having in the unit tested package inserts. You could see 17 sections in the USPI, but whatever the information present in this 17 sections is exactly the same information which we will be having in the SMPC. The only difference is the same information spread across 17 sections. And you could ask me a question, why we are having a different, types of format for different, product labels in different areas. This is up to the governments and regulatory, and companies and regulatory authorities to, form a basis and basic label of a particular product. And you could see the major difference here. I can populate like, or I can cover is using specific population. This was part of the section 4 in SMPC, but the same information is spread across multiple subsections in the section 8, like using pregnancy, lactation, geriatric use, and pediatric use, renal impairment, etc., etc. So far, we have covered about the label development. This is mainly, applicable for the innovator companies. So, if we are developing a label, it's not end of labeling. We have to maintain the label, as we have already discussed that once we clear off the phase 3, the product can enter into the market, and we will be monitoring in the post-marketing surveillance studies, and we are updating the labels based on the outcomes from the phase 4 trials. That is either a safety update or a line extension. Line extension in the sense, if the particular same medication is useful for a new disease, like let's say COVID-19 has started recently in December 2019, companies started to use the existing antiviral drugs to treat COVID-19, and you have already seen that India is started exporting so many tons of the hydroxychloroquine and other antiviral drugs. And if it is showing promising results from the existing drugs, then a company started to claim the benefits out of it, and then they should be updating the labels while using a certain medication for a COVID-19 or any other disease. It's not just limited to COVID-19 or to any other treatment. Like the label trigger would be anything, like any disease or any safety update or any efficacy update, anything like that. Then how we are categorizing these label updates and how we are maintaining these global labels and regional labels is utmost important. Label trigger would be anything that would be safety trigger, safety in the sense if it is an adverse drug reaction that should be communicated to the physicians, because this is a side effects happening in certain population or for the overall population, that should be communicated immediately to the physicians or healthcare professionals to stop the particular drug or use it in a different way along with some other medication to overcome those side effects, etc. And then medicals, so some other aspects of the updates, how it is impacting, and the developmental, which we have already discussed, like line extension, like using a same drug for a other purpose, and then administrative updates, like the manufacturing plant located in one place has been moved to a different place, or there are minor formatting changes or typographical changes in the label that should be updated maybe at a certain point of time, like once in a year, or based on the company and health authority agreements. And once we have a trigger, either it's in the form of anything, for updating CCDS, we should be having a justification document, clinical overview, and once the CCDS is being updated, it has to be communicated whatever the update in the CCDS to the concerned regional authority, regional company colleagues, and they should be updating their labels, that is SMPC, USPI, or package information leaflet. And as we have mentioned that CCDS is a company internal document, there is no need to submit this document to the health authorities. And once the regional label is updated, they should be submitting this to the health authorities, and health authority would be reviewing what exactly the change. And sometimes the health authority is not approving it straight away, and they would be sending our comments to the company, and they would start negotiating why they are putting the certain things like that, and then they will discuss in the form of mail communication or in the form of meetings, etc. And then they will get an approval. Once they got an approval from the health authorities, they will initiate it to initiate the artwork approval, that is artwork update or artwork approval. Then the artwork which is affixed to the particular product container or a carton would be updated as per the updates. For all the label or artwork updates, for all the label updates, the artwork update is not a mandatory thing. But if anything changes with respect to the new indication or something like that, then the artwork should be updated accordingly. Then here, different stakeholders would be involved in label development or label maintenance. If there is any trigger, like it's a safety update, then they would be having internal meetings between the different stakeholders, that is a labeling lead, and then a safety lead from a safety aspects, and then pharmacovigilance specialist or pharmacovigilance scientist from a monitoring point of view, and then a layman or a person from independent committees would be trying to involve in these meetings, and will try to understand from a people's point of view, and then regulatory lead from a regulatory point of view. Like these many members will try to join the meetings and will try to understand how can they integrate or incorporate those updates into the labels, and then subsequently the regional label updates and all the artwork updates would be happening. This is a future of the labeling. Here, which we have already discussed, the harmonization of the labeling is one of the main important thing which we have to talk about. As per the CM's Group 5 recommendation, they're trying to standardize the labels or the labeling requirements across the globe. This is, I think, in my point of this is utmost important, and harmonizing a labeling information across the globe is mandatory at certain point of time. Why? Because see, a company is performing a clinical trial across the globe, that is in USA, Europe, India, China, Russia, etc. If they are capturing the information differently in different parts of the world, then there won't be any consistency, and whatever the information or the adverse events they are capturing in a certain region is not matching with the other region, then taking a rational clinical decision would be really challenging for any company, and it would be even very challenging for taking approval from the health authorities. I'm sure that companies or countries is looking for some local requirements or some local things, etc. But having a uniformed information for the globe is utmost important, and it would give value to the company as well. And one of the things happening in the future is electronic labeling. Already key principles drafted in the European Union for the electronic labeling. And you could see you could even go through the link which I have provided here, and you can try to understand what is happening in the industry. Also, it's not only electronic labeling, and all the health authorities or all the countries are trying to find a new ways of labeling. Nowadays, everyone is using mobiles. Everyone is able to access to the mobile, and everyone is able to access the information on the internet. Maybe the countries like India, earlier we are not aware much of the labeling and what it exactly contains. If we're able to find some information on the internet, and maybe at least some percentage of people might be able to look into it and try to find the information there. As a pharmacist or healthcare professionals, what is our role in the labeling? Monitoring the regulation and providing the feedbacks or suggestions is one of the utmost important thing which we must do as healthcare professionals or the pharmacists. See, many changes or many regulations are coming in these days, and I know many of us doesn't even know what is happening in the industry. At least as pharmaceutical professionals, we should be monitoring the regulations, and we should be giving our suggestions or feedback while they are drafting the legislations or regulation, etc. That is what maybe India is behind, because of the this is not just because of the people's awareness. This is again because of the language barriers. I would say most of the package information leaflets or patient information leaflets available in India. I'm not saying 100%, but most of them are available in English, and English literacy in India, maybe in this generation, maybe they will aware a little bit, but taking our parents' generation or anyone else, they doesn't even know English. Maybe more than 50%, or even the number is much more higher. They doesn't know what exactly there in the labels if it is in English. Maybe we should fight with the governments for a regulation in a local language or in a mother tongue. By that, majority of the people will try to understand and will try to use the particular medication in a proper way. It's not only just about the regulation. We have to educate the people how you should be taking and what is there. Maybe companies might raise a query here saying that they have to increase a 5% or 10% of the cost of the medication. Excuse me. Cost of the medication, but I think even 5% or 10% cost of the medication doesn't really big deal if everyone is able to try to understand and try to um, read, and how they will be using the proper usage of the medicine is utmost important, rather than just taking any medication without knowing anything. I hope I try to cover everything, but do let me know if you have any questions or anything else.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thanks for your valuable talk. I request all the participants who are having any doubts or any queries, please drop your queries in chat box, please. All students, all participants, please drop your queries in chat box. Based on that, sir will respond. I think don't have any doubts. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, vote of thanks. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. It was indeed privilege to have Mr. Harshavardhan Gummadi Garu, a eminent regulatory affairs specialist and a renowned clinical pharmacist, as a guest lecturer for today's session. SAR shared fundamentals of regulatory product labeling, product information like summary of product characterization, package leaflet, labeling information on the immediate or outer package, history, label development, common technical document structure, IB template, like summary, that is company core safety information. This is so useful, sir, for our students, even teachers who are entitled by your talk. I, on behalf of A.M.Reddy Memorial College of Pharmacy, the team, the total crew of the organization, from the management, a hearty vote of thanks to today's speaker for gracing our students and teachers by sharing with us. I would like to thank the valuable invitees and participants for their presence. I would also like to thank the students and supporting staff. I would like to thank the organizing committee and convener, Dr. Kishore sir, for giving this opportunity. At last, I would like to thank our management, Secretary Madam, Shanti Madam, and Srinivas Reddy sir for their support, encouragement, and cooperation. Thank you, sir, Harshavardhan sir, for your valuable talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Sir, hello.
Hello.
Sir, a small, any few lines from your side. This is Dr. Kishore about today's session.
Yes, thank you, sir. I think, as per my understanding, everyone is has listened to my lecture today, and everyone is maybe happy with the session. And again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge with all of your team and all the members from the various organizations joined over here, and especially to Srimati Atluri Shranti Garu for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, this is very informative session. I think this knowledge may help to those who are stepping out, the students, and those who are interested to do jobs in industry. These regulatory authorities, various regulatory authorities are available in the globally. Especially, you have covered that on product labeling. To my knowledge, it is very informative, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, a small announcements to the participants. We have one more session is there, second session. Okay, that is by 2:30 p.m. Everybody will come and cooperate this last session. Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of the session. I'm signing
Thank
off.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.